Hi, my name is Daphne, and today I actually have you guys sitting inside of the raised bed because we're actually going to put our plants or our salad greens inside of this bed today. Temperatures are kind of within the range of like, I guess 70 on some days, but today it's literally about 40 or 50, I think. Kind of windy. It's been raining off and on. Actually perfect conditions for salad greens. It's cold enough where they won't go to seed, and it is warm enough where I don't have to actually keep the plastic tarp over the beds the entire night. So perfect conditions. They've actually been outside for about a week, and they look a little worse for wear because they did go through a couple of colder nights. So this purple bok choy, for example, has seen better days, but the ground or the soil in this garden bed is amazing. It is like rich black. It is full of earthworms and other insects. There's a thick covering of leaves inside of this bed, and so once I get them in the bed, I'm actually going to give them a little bit of a barrier, because when you have a bunch of leaves and really fertile soil, you inevitably also have slugs. So I have a lot of them. I'm going to pick up some Sluggo, but in the meantime, I'm actually going to plant them and then stick these cups, like basically stick them on the inside of these cups. The bottoms have been cut out. I've had these for a couple of years, and that is also a way for me to keep a barrier, well, actually to keep the leaves from like engrossing them or encompassing them, just because they're still a little young, and I don't want them to have to compete with the light in the event that the leaves get blown over. Also, hopefully it keeps the slugs away because it gives them a barrier space so that the leaves are not like super on top of them. So I'm anticipating that the cold frosted leaves, or the leaves that got damaged due to the frost, will actually die off, and then this plant actually has some new growth coming in, and so these plants will be healthier once they get in the ground. Haven't watered them yet, so I'll do that after I put them in the ground. The Mizuna has seen better days, but it's still alive. We also have the arugula, which is absolutely loving this weather. I mean, it has really impressive root growth at the bottom of this. Has some frost damage on the outer leaves, but the inner leaves are actually amazing. And we have our Merlot, and the color on this is absolutely beautiful. Have a lot of really good root growth here. You guys can see that. We also have some Paris Island lettuce here. Very impressive root growth there. Doing amazing. And then we also have some, what do you call this plant? It is May Queen lettuce, which is on a like a pinkish color, but it has some new growth coming in. It's green, and some really great root growth there as well. So I also have some peas that will be planted out around the area. They won't actually be going inside of the garden bed, so I don't have anything for them to grow on. And I tried that, I think, within my first year gardening, and it was horrible. But these are going to go around the garden space everywhere that has a trellis. And look at that root growth down there. It's wonderful, isn't it? So these are going to be planted out. I'm actually going to plant these inside of toilet paper rolls. The same reason as to why I'm using the cups inside the grow bed. The toilet paper rolls are decomposable, so they will break down over time. That's a benefit. But they will also hopefully keep the slugs away and anything else away. I also have cutworms, I have millipedes, pill bugs. So hopefully it allows for them to get established in the garden beds before nature decides to eat them. So I'm hoping that's a small barrier, and then I'll water these as well, but I may not have to. I think it's actually supposed to rain again tonight. I also have some leeks, and they are about 3 weeks old, and they're holding their own here. They could probably go another week or so in this container before I plant them out. They do have some decent root growth at the bottom, but I'm actually just going to scoop these out in chunks and just plop them in this garden bed in hopes that they scare the voles away. I don't think so. But at the very least, I get leek soup at the end of the season, so, and a bunch of seeds too. I might actually let one go to seed so I can continuously have leek seeds, because these are actually from saved seeds as well. So yeah, I'm going to plant these out, and in the bottoms of all of the holes, I'm actually going to put some food scraps. So I've been like collecting buckets of food scraps for like the last 2 months. and they're going to go at the bottom of the plants. I've found that the years I've done that, I've actually had so much more successful plants. I've had to water them less, and I did not have to fertilize them at all, because as the food scraps break down within the bucket and within the soil, they provide nutrients to the plants. And the worms eat it, and probably the voles would eat them as well. Whatever. But they also tunnel and provide oxygen to the plants, and their poop actually fertilizes the plants as well. So we'll be adding food scraps, and then I also will be adding, collecting food scraps for the tomatoes when they come out at mid-May, and the peppers. So stay tuned, and I will show you guys how we are planting these things. It's just beautiful. I'm excited. So let's go. All right, so what I need to do is actually clear this area of leaves, and then I'll add the leaves back on later. So let me go and get my rake really quick. I'm just gonna clear a section and fill in tunnel spaces. This would be easier without the plastic on, but I can't take it off just yet because we do still have a 30-degree night, and the babies are not strong enough to withstand that by themselves. So we'll probably do another week of the covering. Oh my God, there's a peanut in here, those darn squirrels. We'll probably do another week of the covering, and then we'll take this off and add the insect netting. And that'll be good. Be good to go. Alright, now in this bucket here we have food scraps that have been decomposing for the last, I don't know, month in the bucket, so they're nice and gross. A couple of apples and bell peppers. I'm going to chop these up into fine bits. Remove any stickers. You know, I did this last time with bell peppers. It ended up with a bunch of pepper plants growing, but that's perfectly fine. So hopefully that works. So we're going to start with this one and just dig a hole. Now in here I have, let's see, I have the Mizuna, I have the Queen Island, the May Queen lettuce, I have the Tatsoi, Paris Island lettuce, the Marlowe, the arugula, the bok choy, and the dinosaur kale is actually going in the bed. So I have 7 different types. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7 different types. And we only can really do about 4 within each row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a lot. We're going to try to squeeze them in. And in between the rows, we're going to add some little bitty, we're going to add our leeks. So I'm going to do about 4. With the deeper one, because the soil is kind of compacted because I've been stepping on it, and it might still be a little frozen. On the flip side, we have worms. Lots and lots of little wormies, and lots of big thick chunks of mulch. When I first was creating this bed, we ordered as many bags of mulch as I did soil, thinking that it would save me money. And it hasn't yet decomposed. And then I made the beginner mistake of like mixing it all together. So now once we dug a hole, we're gonna take our little clampers dollar store. I actually recommend some things you shouldn't probably buy at the dollar store. This is one of them. Actually get you a really good pair of tongs, especially if you don't want to touch the food scraps. But throw a couple of food scraps in here. So we do have an orange that I'm going to break up even further with my gloves. Just break it apart. Well decomposed. It's not a fresh orange. It's been sitting for a month. And there's also apple peels and apple peels and tea bags, and there's some potato peels, lots of potato peels. So we add a little bit of that in the soil to decompose and to fertilize the plant. And then we're going to add a little bit of soil back because as mentioned, the plants can't take this nutrients in as of yet. And then we're just going to make this a row of Merlot because the Merlot is going to be the last thing to bolt. So typically My process is on the outskirts of the hole, we add what is least likely to bolt quickly. So it'll be Merlot and Paris Island lettuce on the ends, and then in the inside everything is going to bolt very quickly. So the Mizuna, the bok choy, those things will bolt like within a month. And then as they bolt, I can remove the entire row and just start putting in the collard greens, the mustard greens, the turnips, whatever. General process. So we're going to make this one our Merlot. And it looks like I've only have 3 surviving plants, but that's perfectly fine. These grow pretty large, so I shouldn't need more than 3. As a general precaution, I do like having more than 3 plants in case one of them do not survive the the hardening off process. I at least have a backup, but we'll just plop another plant in there. But this one has pretty good root growth, so we're gonna just plop it in the hole. And we're just gonna plop it in the hole, and we'll come back and water these. Typically, I usually water the hole. Go. There's some pretty looking ants in here too. Alright, and then to keep the leaves off, we're actually just going to turn it the wide side up and put that directly over the plant and just kind of position it in there a little bit. And then wiggle it in there. And there we go. And then the plant will actually grow outside of this, but there. So we just plopped it in. We didn't disturb the roots at all. I put the cup directly over the plant. I've done this in years past. They do grow out and over the plant, but it does provide a little bit of protection from the insects and from the leaves actually covering them so much so that I don't know where I planted them. The year I hadn't done that, the leaves took over, the plants are very scrawny, and the slugs were better able to get to them, and that wasn't great. So we're gonna just plant this next row, and then we'll move on to whatever comes next, and then we'll also get out these peas as well because they definitely have to go out. So. Alright, here they are, all planted out. So on this end here we have our Merlot. I don't know if you really can see it, but they're inside the cups, but they do outgrow the cups, and then once they outgrow the cups I just kind of remove them. But it keeps them separate from the leaves. So we have our Merlot here, we have our Tatsoi here, and it's only 3 per row. And then in this row we have our Queen Anne lettuce. I didn't plant out the leeks, but I did water them. So they're just going to sit here for now. Maybe I just push them further down. And the leaves, so get a little bit of warmth from that. But we have our leeks in here. We also have a row of purple bok choy in there. And they've all been watered inside the cups. This row is arugula. The next row is Mizuna, and then we have the Paris Island lettuce on the end. And then these are some of the leftover ones, as well as some of the dinosaur kale that'll be planted out in the garden beds a little later. It's just my back hurts, and it's getting a little cold. It's starting to rain a little, so I think I'm done for the day. But we do have the garden bed all planted out. And hopefully within about a month or so, they will start to take off. And then as mentioned, I'll just remove the cups and also remove the plastic as well, probably within the next week or so. and then just let the rain water this bed. There's food scraps at the bottom of each plant, so that'll start to decompose. The worms and everything else will start to eat those, and in the past it's been very successful. I also dug out quite a few very impressive roots. And so that will make a difference. You don't want to keep the roots in the garden bed. Something like this, but actually quite thicker. You don't want to leave these in the garden beds. They'll actually take a lot of the nutrients and the moisture from the soil, and that won't leave your plants with anything. So this is a no-till bed. I only kind of dig where I'm putting the plants, but as I dig, I do kind of try to remove as much of the root as possible to give my plants a better chance of surviving. So what I'm going to do is actually close this garden bed because it is a little cold, and just give them time to acclimate within their new environment, although I will be raising this up in the morning. And before we go back inside and get some heat and some food, we have to plant out our peas. So we'll do that now. Alright, so the weather's turning. It's going to get cold and yucky, or it is cold and yucky, but I did plant out the peas. So I didn't put any food scraps underneath them, but there's a ton of earthworm activity, so I think the soil should be pretty nice. Sandwiched between two of the chive plants here that were purchased last year. And I have them inside of the toilet paper rolls. The wind is blowing pretty fiercely, so this actually will protect them. Give them a little bit of insulation. And allow, hopefully, keep the pill bugs and the slugs off of them until they can kind of trellis up. And then these will decompose, but I can take them off as well. So I have some here. This is like the cherry tomato trellis. So by the time the peas are dying out, I can just plant in the starts for the tomatoes, and that'll be a good crossover. So this trellis has peas on the other side of the door. So that trellis has peas, and then this bed has peas as well, so there are 3 each here. It also keeps the leaves out as well, but the leaves act as insulation, so I won't be taking those out, but we have 3 here as well. We have 3 6 peas here in the toilet paper rolls that have just kind of been buried a little bit just to keep them in place. And we also have, 4, 8, 12 peas here, which might be too many. But at least, like I said, by the time these die out, I'll plant the pole beans right in front or right in back. And by the time these die out, the pole beans will be taken off. So that's a good transition there as well. And the pole beans will go out in about a month, give or take. And I did close this off. I didn't actually tie it down, but I did want to close it just to trap in a little bit of the heat because it is going to drop down to the 30s tonight. And I think already in here it is closer to 50 degrees. And, well, no, yes, 50 degrees in there now. 80% humidity, and I actually stuck the remainder of the peas in there as well. They'll be planted out in the enclosed area, but just to give them a little bit of warmth and let them settle, and then I'll check up on them tomorrow morning. But it's the trellis, the raised bed all planted out, and I also got the peas. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to get inside of the house because it is freezing out here. But I did want to show you guys the peas and the salad greens, and cross our fingers. They do very well once we get past this cold snap and just start to take off and grow. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have a great and wonderful day. Peace.